Save the Butcher!
Hi, this is Bob from HelpSaveTheButchers.com, and today we're going to do some basic merchandising on a sirloin tip knuckle. We're going to take some full cut sirloin tip steaks off the front of it. Then we're going to take the silver tip off the side to make some sandwich steaks, and we're going to use the back end for a sirloin tip roast. And as always, minimize your trim so you can maximize your gross profit. The first thing we're going to do on a sirloin tip is we're going to turn it bottom side up, and we're going to take out the wrap meat that's on the bottom here. We're going to look for the silver tip, and starting there, you should find a seam where the meat connects just below the silver tip. What we want to do is we want to cut into the seam and remove this meat here. Now, there's parts of this meat that's really good for stew meat, and some can even be used for stir fry or cube steaks. We're going to take this, we're going to put this aside, and we're going to work this piece out now. This piece here on the front part that came off from the silver tip end, we're going to cut right down through it. We're going to clean it up, and this we're going to use for stew meat. The middle piece has a nerve that separates it from the solid side. We're going to go alongside of that. We're going to take this middle piece out, and we're going to use this middle piece also for stew. Now the piece that's left, this is where we can get some stir fry out of. We want to take the big piece of nerve off of it. I left most of the nerve on this piece when I took off that middle piece, so that way there I can peel it underneath it. Now we're going to find the direction of the grain. You can see it's running this way. We're going to slice thin sliced pieces against the grain with it. Maybe one piece of stew first. And then these here you can pack up after for stir fry. Okay, and the rest of that you can slice all the way through. Now we're going to take the nerve off the bottom part of the ball tip by sticking our knife under it. Removing the nerve there. Now I'm going to take sirloin tip steaks, full cut sirloin tip steaks off the front end of this, but I'm not going to go too far. I'm only going to take 2 steaks. The reason is the silver tip on the side, the grain actually runs a little bit of an angle, but mostly towards this way, and we don't want to end up being in the same direction as the grain. If you can buy bell peeled knuckles, they're a better value to the retailer because it's fuller cut and you're able to make a better cut on the first piece. So we're going to take off 2 steaks here. Trim those up. We're going to put them in a 4 tray. Now we're going to take the silver tip off by making a straight cut down here. We want to be able to leave the backside even, so that way there when we tie the roast on the sirloin tip, it's not too small in the back. We're going to, though, here, use that for sandwich steaks, but here we're going to take the back nerve off where the silver tip goes up against the ball tip. Now we're going to tie this piece of meat together as a nice small sirloin tip roast. As always when tying, I use my knife, wrap around twice, put the string between my little finger and my next finger. This gives me control on the string so I can pull it with the knife. And I'm going to square off the back end for stew meat or cube steaks depending on the size of the piece. And there's your sirloin tip roast. These pieces here, stew or cube. On the silver tip next we're going to do sandwich steaks off of this. You can get cube steaks, you can get round stew if you like, or you can do a thick cut for a silver tip steak. Okay? Make sure you clean up the front side and you can see the grain, how it runs on it. First I'm going to take the silver tip steaks off just to show you. I'm going to do them about 3/4 to 1 inch. It's a couple there. It's a lean round cut. Merchandised in a 2 tray or a 4 tray, depending if you have a customer that's looking for a lean steak. This would be the steak, not a really overly tender steak. Then sandwich steaks, you got a nice full cut here. the end piece, a little bit of stew. We have a 12 tray here to pack our sandwich steaks. We're going to use a double pad on the bottom, and we're going to fill the package from one end to the other, from the upper right to the bottom left. And we're going to try to do as much symmetry as we can with it to show the even amount of meat on each steak. It's going to get a little bit harder when you get to the first cut because it's a little bit smaller. Now 10 fills this tray. We don't want to overload it, but it's a nice full tray for sandwich steaks. So, and we'll put this into stir fry. So there you go, some basic merchandising tips on a sirloin tip knuckle. We have some sandwich steaks up in front there, a stir fry. We have a sirloin tip roast, the basic, some silver tip steaks, a nice package of round stew, nice and lean, and some full cut sirloin tip steaks. This is Bob from HelpSaveTheButchers.com. Remember, the secret to running a great meat department is to do the basics really well.
Help save the butcher!